spokesperson, Thomas Young.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. First of all, may I, on behalf of the third party, associate myself with the remarks made by you, the Leader, and Shadow Leader regarding Mark Hutton. He has been a friend of this party over the years, so much so, in fact, that our Chief Whip takes rather more pride than you might expect in a Scottish nationalist in having his signed copy of Erskine May in his office. Mr Speaker, I want to begin by talking about our procedures. I'm thinking of paraphrasing Kipling to say that if you can keep your head while all around you are losing theirs, you probably don't understand the seriousness of the situation. I think that is what is happening in this chamber, where we are maintaining this facade of normalcy whilst we know that there is a crisis gripping the country. And I do wonder if we are devoting enough urgency to looking at how we can revise and improve participation by remote means in our discussions, given that large parts of the country are now again in lockdown and that these measures may intensify in the weeks and months to come. And in that regard, I am particularly disappointed to see that next week Westminster Hall will resume its sitting in a business-as-normal type way. Surely, if there was ever an opportunity to try and test creatively the opportunities that are presented to us by technology and to have virtual conferencing, it would have been in the setting of Westminster Hall. As it is, these debates will take place with the vast majority of members of Parliament unable to participate in them, and I think it is a great wasted opportunity. Mr Speaker, I also want to talk about the Internal Market Bill, which is trundling its way through Parliament. It is now clear, it is no longer a matter of speculation, it is now clear that the devolved administrations in the United Kingdom will not give consent to this ridiculous piece of legislation. And I want to know if we can find the time to debate in this chamber the consequences for the devolution settlement of that being the case and of the United Kingdom government choosing to ignore the wishes of the devolved administrations and steamroller the legislation through anyway. And my final point, Mr Speaker, and I refer the House to the Register of Interests, is to talk about the job support scheme. It was welcome that the Chancellor came to the House and we had a discussion last week, but there are still enormous gaps. So I want to ask the Government when we can find the time to debate what we can do to assist those companies and businesses in this country which are viable, safe and good businesses, but which are told by public order to be closed in order to meet the public health imperative that we have. Are we simply to say that all of those businesses and all of those jobs are unviable and they are to be discarded, or are we going to step in after the 31st of October and offer them some assistance?
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The honourable gentleman has continued to ask for us to change our procedures and to do things more remotely. It is worth noting that yesterday the remote voting system in the other place fell down, and therefore they are going to have to redo the votes on the business that they were supposed to be doing. I think we have to press on with our important business in serving the country, ensuring we have the debates that are asked for. And from the point of view of government business managers, we have on the one hand a demand for debates and votes, quite rightly, and on the other hand the demand that we shouldn't in fact be here. People cannot have it both ways. The technology did not provide satisfactory scrutiny and has fallen over in voting in the other place. When we had a problem in our division lobbies, we had a fallback solution and we could carry on with the business. Losing a day's votes on report stage of a bill makes proceeding with government business exceptionally difficult. As regards Westminster Hall, the honourable gentleman says that most members won't be able to attend, and most members don't attend Westminster Hall anyway. That very few debates are that full in Westminster Hall, and though there will be formal limits, actually, considering the numbers who are at most Westminster Hall debates, those formal limits will not be unduly stretched, and the resources of our broadcasting teams are being used in other ways, and there are limited resources. Again, people wanted Westminster Hall back. We've got Westminster Hall back. It's an opportunity to hold the government to account, and I think this is a good thing and the right thing to be doing. With regard to the United Kingdom Internal Markets Bill, this is a fantastic bill. It's one of the best pieces of legislation passed through this House in recent times. It also devolves, I think, 70 powers to the devolved administrations. So, I mean, they're modelling themselves on Oliver Twist, Mr. Deputy Speaker. They're always asking for more. They can't have more on this occasion. They've got a great deal of devolution coming through that bill, but it's also a bill that ensures we will have a functioning internal market. And the Honourable Gentleman asked for further debates, effectively, on the UK Internal Markets Bill. It is worth noting that 2 of the days in committee were not completely used. So when the government provides time for debate, I think members are on stronger ground complaining when that time has been used up rather than otherwise. As regards the job support scheme, I welcome his support for that, and I would just remind the House that £190 billion of taxpayers' money has gone to support the economy so far. That is a very, very substantial amount. As the Chancellor has said, not everything can be protected, but an enormous amount has been protected.
Scott Mann.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. In Cornwall, we have town and parish councils who have struggled financially in the wake of COVID-19 due to their revenues being highly dependent on car parking. And we also have leisure centres that have been on their knees